Hello and welcome teachers for our today's session. I can already see many of the participants have already joined in for the session. So again, welcome everybody. So in today's session, we are going to cover up the topic about what exactly the normal school teachers can or may do in terms of helping any child with special needs, that is children with special needs, CWSN, what we call them in short form. Before we start with the session, it's a request for all the teachers that please mute yourselves. Please mute कर लीजिए खुद को, because so that we have a better and an effective interaction with all of you, and so whatever I will be saying and discussing with all of you, it just goes directly. And so there is less amount of disturbance. And teachers also, once I will be done with the session, in the second phase of the session, we are going to have a lot of discussions, and I would definitely say that I would welcome a lot of questions, or if any queries you have, I would love to answer all your queries. So teachers, let me start with today's presentation. So let me share the screen with all of you. Okay, so I hope that you are able to see the presentation right now, and let me do it on a full screen now. Okay, so classroom strategies for CWSN. So today and tomorrow, let me tell you that we will be covering up the same topic today in English, and tomorrow the same session will be in Hindi. Day after tomorrow, we will be talking about, like, today the strategies will be revolving around behavior and social skills, or if I would say helping a child behaviorally and socially. So today and tomorrow, it will be the same session in different languages. Day after tomorrow, it will be the same topic, but we will be covering up the academic concerns, or the ways or techniques you can which help any child with special needs in terms of academic, or in helping the child in performing better in their examinations. So teachers, today we will be, as I said, talking about the behavioral and the social help, the strategies also, and some little bit suggestions or techniques also I will be discussing or telling with all of you. So, okay, so teachers, let's start. So we have been actually constantly, whenever we have been talking about inclusion in our previous sessions, whosoever teacher was involved with us in our previous sessions, they would definitely agree to this, and they would definitely know that in all the time we have been talking about what is inclusive education, what kind of children are included, what kind of neurodevelopmental disorders, children having different kind of disorders are involved when we specially talk about inclusion, so on and so forth. So we have been till now covering up all those topics. So from today, basically what we are trying to focus, teachers, is about the whole intervention plan. So if I say that why only behavior strategies will work and not academics or not social, then I feel that somewhere down the line, we are not making it as a proper inclusion. So our main focus should be on a holistic development, the overall growth of the child. So, for example, I should believe that if a child is there in the class, it's my duty as a teacher, maybe not as a special educator, but as a normal and a general teacher also, I would be at least able to identify some of the main signs and symptoms of different disorders. And what about that? So once we have identified, once we have diagnosed the child, or we have recommended him or her to some psychologist or to some professional, then after that, what exactly teachers we have to do? Then we cannot just include the child, but we do not do any strategies with the child. That will be completely wrong. So let us have a quick understanding in today's session, teachers, what very small suggestions, what you all as teachers can keep in mind for the overall and a holistic betterment of any child with special needs. So the first thing here would be, teachers, identification of children with disabilities in the classroom. I already mentioned that point. Then a very important point, everybody should remember, referring the identified child to a proper expert or any professional. In this case, most of the time we do refer them to a registered clinical psychologist, Why? Because a clinical psychologist will have the authority to diagnose a child, make a detailed psychological evaluation, and a proper reporting is done regarding the child. Then the parents have to submit that report in the school. Then further it goes to the CBSE or ICSE board, whichever board it is related to. Then within 7 or to 10 days, the CBSE definitely comes back with the reply, and a many number of concessions is given to that particular child. So as a teacher, we have to remember these very small things so that we don't make any kind of error in this whole process. Developing positive attitude between normal children and disabled children. If I try to correct the statement, the atypical ones, what we normally call the normal child as atypical, and we call the disabled child as neurotypical. So a rapport, basically a rapport building and a positive acceptance from your side as a teacher. So teachers, it's very important. Till the time, if I suggest any intervention strategy to you in terms of behavior, in terms of social skills, or in terms of academics, remember one thing, that till the time you don't accept them with wholeheartedly, if you don't accept them and you do not grow on your positive attitude, then I will definitely say that we are not able to cross the first step of any kind of development in these children. So teachers, starting with this background, now I will start with the very easy suggestions and recommendations or strategies you can call for their betterment. First and foremost, for example, a child is with either ADHD, either he is with autism or any other disability in the class. So what will be my first thing? What will be my first step? I have to firstly at least concentrate on the positive aspects of the child. If I believe in my mind, if I have that kind of a stereotype thinking that okay, he is a child with autism, इसमें क्या खूबियां हो सकती हैं और what kind of strengths he may be having. So that is a completely wrong notion, teachers. First of all, when we talk about multiple intelligence, whether linguistic, mathematical, kinesthetic, naturalistic, so on and so forth. So when we talk about this multiple intelligence, remember this thing, or we all have to remember that it's not necessary that a child definitely can be very much lagging in terms of mathematical skills, but maybe very good in musical intelligence, or maybe in dance, that is kinesthetic intelligence, or maybe a child may be very much interested in just playing with the soil or with the mud or planting some trees, that is naturalistic intelligence. So every time it has to be observed very minutely that what all strengths and weaknesses of the child with special needs we have to concentrate. Second, teacher, it's very important. For example, right now I'm having a session with all of you. I am giving you so many instructions, or you can say suggestions. I am talking with these many number of words in a single minute. But here is the main difference when I talk or starting to teach any child with special needs. That is very limited verbal instructions, whether you're a general teacher or you are a special educator, it really doesn't matter. But this kind of an approach will definitely help the child even to perform better in the school situation. So if I have to tell, for example, a child, whether with ADHD or autism, that for example, Ram stopped talking to the other child. So in the normal setup, we have a tendency of saying lot many words and lot many sentences as one instruction. Rather, we just have to cut down the number of words, slow up on our pace or on our speed, and the rate of speech should be lesser as compared to the other situations. So very limited, short and crisp instructions will, I'm very sure, will at least 60 to 70%, it will be effective on that particular child. And on the contrary, if I say, Ram, I have been seeing you every day. You have been so much involved in just talking to the other child. Why don't you start behaving yourself? So remember, teachers, these many number of words, when I talk to any child with any kind of disorder, really doesn't work. It rather the child becomes really confused that what kind of instruction is given to me and what kind of following I need to do. So very limited instructions. It's a very important point for all the teachers. Keep it simple in giving instructions. I've already covered this same point. Be aware, teachers, this is a very important point. So please be with me when I discuss this point. Especially remember this thing that this particular point is more related to the children who are having autism. That means be aware of environmental sensory triggers like touch, smell, vision, auditory, etc. So just for explaining well, I have tried to put in this picture over here. So one child is saying, oh, this is too fast. One child is saying, oh, this is too high. One child is saying that, okay, too new for me. One is saying too unexpected. That means a sudden change. So these kind of very simple sensory situations or stimulations are very, very hard for the child with special need to understand or to grasp or to settle down. So, for example, if I talk about vision stimulation regarding vision or hyper stimulation regarding vision, that means this amount of light, for example, this amount of light is completely okay for you as well for me. So I am able to see my screen, I am able to talk to all of you, and we don't want much of a very bright light over here. But remember this thing, teachers, when I talk about autism or related disorders, a child may be hyper or hyposensitive to this particular light even. This may be normal for you, this may be apt for you, but any child with autism may react in a completely different fashion to this much light even. Or the child will be on the other hand very, very fascinated with the light or the reflecting kind of lights or the lights which we especially put in Diwali or anything related to the mirror. So the light is reflecting through the mirror. So we have to be very careful. So in this case, if a teacher wants a sudden dramatic change in the schedule of the day, and there is a child with autism or related disorder in the class, trust me, teachers, it is going to be a really hard time for that particular child. Without understanding his situation, we all may suddenly keep on changing the schedule and he may fail to come regularly to the school because one thing will be very clear in his mind that there is a lot of unexpected things which is happening. That is why I will basically stop going to the school or performing better. Next will be teachers post classroom rules for other children. So what we generally talk about, these are the general suggestions what we are talking, sensitization towards the other children. So if it's a class of 35 children or 40 children or 25 for that matter, first and foremost thing for you will be to sensitize the other children in terms of so that they become more empathetic towards the particular child with disability. So till the time you do not post or do some kind of storytelling or some kind of role play or just mentioning the rules, then I'm very sure teachers every day you will land up wasting a lot of time in just giving the same and the same instructions to every child. Rather, like follow directives. This is just an example what I've tried to post over here. So respecting every child, wishing every child or wishing every teacher once you're in the class, or it can be helping the other child who is in need. So some very basic moral based rules you can definitely write it with bold letters, with bold colors, and you can simply paste it in the on the wall or wherever you wish in the classroom. Next will be teachers try teaching social skills such as hand raising, taking turns. So any child, whether I would say with ADHD, which is now the most common neurodevelopmental disorder nowadays, and as per our last census also, ADHD is growing day by day. That means attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So any child, if I tell you that why not the social skills is not only limited to any child with autism, any child with intellectual disability, but this is much more relevant also in case of any ADHD child also. How? Let us just understand with an example. For example, you try to teach social skills. How the ADHD child will not try listening to you. He will just start jumping from here to there. He will just not listen. He will just not be able to even copy directly from the board. Rather, he will be just in his own entertainment zone or in his own energy level. So, just to maintain that energy, just to teach him directly or to play or any kind of group discussions or group play activities, you can definitely not only a child with autism, intellectual disability, but you can definitely teach simple, very basic morals and social skills with to a child with ADHD as well. So that is why this is very important. Apart from the main curriculum, these kind of simple moral stories or social skills training is very, very important. Next will be using, and this is a very, very important point. If I talk in terms of psychology as a field, this is of prime importance, this particular point, teachers. Using the right reinforcement strategy with the child. Okay, so just I will share an example with you so that you clearly understand what is the meaning of reinforcement. A very simple example. If I am feeling hungry, the moment I eat food, I feel all right. I feel full. That means I was feeling hungry. Here, the reinforcement has become the food itself. So, reinforcement in any layman terms means either emphasizing a particular behavior or lowering down a particular behavior. So, whichever behavior you want in the child in your class, for example, a child does not sit does not sit on the seat for a given amount of time. So, if one so I would request the teachers to please mute yourselves so that there is a less disturbance in the session. So if I talk about positive reinforcement, that means if Ram, for example, has ADHD and Ram for a change, suddenly one fine day after repeated instructions, suddenly he is able to sit for 15 minutes in a row on the seat. Rather, till yesterday he would just sit for 5 minutes, just for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Suddenly the time has increased. Thereafter, you will pat his back. You can praise him very loudly in the class, or you can do some bit of clapping or cheerful comments for the child. That means that you are positively reinforcing that behavior of sitting on the seat. Now, teachers, if I talk about negative reinforcement, that means taking away some pleasurable activity or a thing from the child for a certain amount of time. For example, this particular child named Ram is not listening to you or is not sitting on his own seat and is just getting up before 10 minutes. Like he just sat for 2 minutes and he has got up. That means today he was supposed to go for his games class, or today he was allowed to sit with his best friend. Then, if I talk about negative reinforcement, this will mean that you will take away the pleasurable time from the child, from Ram, rather as a punishment indirectly. It will indirectly work as a punishment, and he will understand that if I do not sit on my seat for at least 10 minutes, then my teacher or my ma'am or sir will not allow me to maybe go for the games class or to maybe sit with my best friend. So this is called negative reinforcement. Differential is very important for all the even parents also, for teachers also. Wherever you feel that immediately you need to work or immediately you need to give certain kind of reinforcement, whether positive, whether negative. So this is a combination of the two is called differential reinforcement. If I talk as a layman, differential means without any 1 second or 1 minute delay, you are just going to immediately praise the child or immediately take away the pleasurable thing for the child. So we have to basically understand these main three kinds of reinforcement strategies. Then comes this will definitely be also covered for a better academic result for in our day after tomorrow session, which will be mainly focusing on the academic performance as well for the child. So if I talk or consider this in the behavioral and social aspect also, so for better teaching, for that matter, better attention or for better memory, for all these things, teachers, definitely flashcards do work the best. Why? Because one reason that it directly gives a visual input to the brain. Therefore, a child, for example, I have a inclination that okay, my visual memory is better than the auditory memory, for example. So for me, any child having a better visual memory can learn the best through videos, through flashcards, through colorful flashcards, and so on, or some chart papers, or for that matter, some notes if you can paste in front of the child at home also, in the school also. So definitely flashcards is a very interesting thing through which children can better of their memory power. Giving little extra time for exercise or any physical work. If I talk about a particular disability, that will be ADHD, and in few of the cases we can consider autism also. Why ADHD, teachers? Because the overall energy level of the child is quite high as compared to any other child in the class. So so then you always are in a problem that okay, how do I settle down this particular child when all the other children are sitting quietly? So in this particular case, please allow the child do some simple jumping activities, some playful activities, or some kind of sports or running activity in the field itself, so that in the beginning of the day, the child who is having ADHD is at least minimum, at least he is settled down a bit, then only he will be able to understand what you are telling in the classes. Otherwise, if he doesn't go for any physical exercise, then he will be constantly in his own zone. He will be fully energetic, and as a result, he will be maybe peeping out of the window, maybe seeing out of the door that okay, these two children are playing, so let me also go and join them. So, etc. So please make sure, if at all as teachers, if you have that availability of the space and the time, if you can incorporate these small things, I'm very sure teachers, the children, especially with hyperactivity problem, will definitely benefit from these suggestions. Breaking the assignments into smaller pieces, that means if there is an assignment, what we generally give to a typical child, he or she may be able to complete it in an hour's time. But if I talk about any child with special needs teachers, then we know that this particular child for the same assignment may take double or triple amount of time. So what is the reason? There maybe the intellectual, they have some intellectual problem, maybe their IQ is in the less range, or maybe that at first go they are not able to understand whatever instructions you are giving to them, or maybe they are not capable with their own understanding or resources that okay, if they can understand the problem, maybe it's possible they are not able to think or retain whatever they had read the earlier night. So these all can be the relatable problems when I say that a child with special need is not able to perform like the other children. So the best thing, teachers, what you can do if time permits you in the class or in the extra time, to break it into small chunks. So for example, if a very simple example, if there is a big and a very long mobile number like 10 digits, if I try to break it only into 4 digits at a time, for example, 1953, and this is just an example for all of you, 2020 or 2003. So attaching those particular years with your personal some kind of memory, or with any random thing which you feel like is better for the child. So breaking a big thing into small chunks and repeatedly memorizing them will definitely, the child will definitely benefit teachers and may or may not be able to perform well in his assignments or tests. Planning the classroom so that the child is seated near the front. It is very important, teachers, especially children who get easily distracted or who are high on energy. So for these children, they may be choosing particularly to sit very much near the window or very much near the door, as I just mentioned in the last point with all of you. So make it a point, any child, special child needs teachers special attention. So if I talk about special attention, how will you give that to the child? By at least making his proper sitting arrangement, that is very much near to you, because the earlier process really doesn't work well nowadays. What it used to happen at our time, that the teacher would specially tell the child or make him sit just besides her. So for that, that has a lot of negative impact on the child. But definitely what as teachers you can do, in very much in the first or maximum in the second row, he has to sit in the particular row which is directly in front of you, and not on the extreme left, not on the extreme right. So this is a very important point, because it will, the child will definitely benefit. Then as a result, he or she will be able to attend to whatever you are saying in the class. Secondly, he will be definitely be able to copy from the board, and maybe he's able to answer well for the further class. Then teachers giving a buddy system. This is a very upcoming kind of a concept, teachers. It's very well in the Western countries, but now in India also, not many international schools probably till now is following this. So this can be a very good technique, or you can say a method to what I can say, to enrich maybe the child with special need. Maybe the child may learn something new or may not learn something new. But our motto as a this buddy system should be like you can see in the picture what I've mentioned over here, what is pasted over here. The other child is showing the pictures on her own to the child with special need, and she is trying to read something. So basically, a student who is very good in socialization, or who is very good in academics, and also teachers very importantly, that support system, that supporting child should be herself very good in morals, and should have a proper empathy towards the other child. Because if just as a responsibility, if you make any child sit with the special child, then I'm very sure our purpose will not be solved, definitely. But a buddy system means it can be anybody from the higher class, also from a lower class, or from the same class even. Whenever the child is having a problem, the this particular buddy in the class will go sit with her at least once or twice in a week, will help him or her in doing all the activities, all the classwork, and so on. So this buddy system is a very fruitful and an effective management plan or a management system, I can say, which is nowadays most of the private schools are taking up. So if definitely we start this kind of system in our schools, I'm very sure it is going to be very much effective. Uh, Doing more difficult learning tasks in the morning time. Why teachers? Because this, whenever we have a lot of sessions with the students as well, this is our motto of telling the students and the parents as well, that whatever subject the child will be starting right in the morning, right? Firstly, whatever subject, it can be maths, science, it can be any favorite subject. If he or she starts with the special subject what he likes, I am very sure the whole day will definitely go very well. Overall motivation level of the child will definitely be maintained. As a result, more effectiveness, teachers, you are definitely going to observe in the child. Maybe not on the first day, but very soon, within 7 to 10 days, you are going to see the impact. Allowing some extra time to finish. On this, I will not maybe speak much, but when I was talking about the concessions which are given by CBSE, in that, if a child is having autism, ADHD, learning disability, and so on, the CBSE concession is also, this is also one of them, that giving extra time during the main examinations to the child, or in the class test also, you can give extra 15 to 20 minutes to the child for finishing the task. And during the examination, CBSE has a proper procedure to which they try to give proper amount or proper time as an extra time to the child. Develop a reward system for good behavior. Again, teachers, again, this is a very important point. As you can see in the pictures, which are it's pasted below, behavior chart, whether a smiley is given, whether a star is given to the child. Whenever you know that, for example, a child with ADHD maybe is becoming very hyperactive, and is not listening to your instructions. So one fine day, you can take one or two as target behaviors. For example, jumping around. Second, you can take following instructions. So these two conditions you can take at a time, not more than that, because it will be confusing for you and for the child as well. So if he starts behaving well on only these two aspects, then you can surely go ahead and give a smiley or a star in front of his name, which will be very colorful, and also the child may assist you in giving the same on his particular chart. So why do we do this, teachers? This is basically to have a visual encouragement and a visual input to my mind that, okay, from the next time I will be given a yellow star, or maybe I may be given a purple star, or my favorite Doraemon sticker. So these kind of behavior charting definitely applies very well on them, and also on the other children, and as well as on you as teachers as well. So that visually at one go, and even in the PTMs, you can directly tell the parents that, see, this is the behavior frequency chart I'm following in school. You also can start following this at your home, so that we have a proper graph and a charting of whatever frequency or behavior he does. So that is why teachers' behavior charting is very, very important, and it has been actually be very much successful in all kind of setup in all kind of schools. Last 2 points which I would like to cover: provide opportunities for meaningful contact with peers who have appropriate social behavior. That means one is the buddy system, what I have already covered, for better social skills, that we have also covered. But as a these are such kind of meaningful interactions, teachers, that it's not necessary that we always give a particular task to the child, but free flowingly just try in the whole day that at least this particular child has a lot of free flow interaction with the other children, and as a result of that interaction, he or she may automatically gain a lot of social skills directly or indirectly. So instruction may be or may not be very much important for all the situations. You can just take out the time from the schedule of the child or from your timetable, and just freely ask the other children to go ahead and interact with that particular child with special needs. It can be they can play some game, they can be do some turn taking activities, or they can make simply a particular homework or a classwork together. So that is how the bonding between all the children will definitely grow, teachers. Last one, which is very important: provide a customized visual daily schedule. This, if I tell you about myself or anybody who's a psychologist or dealing with child psychology day in and out, we are very particular in following a daily schedule. Not only we tell as a first thing to the parents, but as well as we try uh, putting it in the school as well. Why? Let us understand just a very basic fundamental or reason behind it. For example, it's just written this. For example, circle time, snacks, group time, lunch, outside time, nap time, arts or centers. So this is once the schools are open. So it's just a request to all the teachers that you can definitely go ahead, be a little more imaginative, be a little more creative. You can ask the other students as well to fill in very bright colors, or maybe with sketch pens or crayons in the schedule, and you all together make a particular schedule and an interesting schedule for that particular child. So this, frankly speaking, teachers, may be possible little bit more in the early years of the school, maybe a little bit of a problem in the higher classes, but still, when there is a will, there is a way. So definitely, teachers, you can try it on your end. But what is the reason behind it is, once, for example, a child with autism or a child with any other related disorder have a lot of time is fixated with their own schedule. So it's better that we do not hamper the schedule suddenly out of the way. But if I visually can see that, okay, first I have to go for a prayer, okay, then I have to go for my maths class. Thereafter, I will be going for my snack time. So basically, what we are trying to do over here is to give a visual feedback to the child, very much prepared, like consciously the child is very much prepared that, okay, after this activity, the next activity I'm completely prepared with. Why? Because suddenly without preparation, if you do any change, then I am very sure the child may have a lot of sensory issues and a lot of temper tantrums. So we have to all be very careful about the same. So teachers, this was from my end for all the suggestions, all the strategies, what we all can take care whenever we are dealing, if any child is there in our class with special needs. So definitely teachers, again, my humble request that you please consciously try adapting to these certain small suggestions. I am very sure first or the second step will be definitely achieved by all of you. So if at all we try to adapt to these 2 or 3 suggestions as well. So I can still see a lot of participants in our Zoom session right now. So now I will surely invite some bit of experiences from all the teachers, because you all have been since so many years in this teaching field. So rather, you know, the reality situation, you may be knowing much more than me. So definitely I would be like to have it as an experiential learning for not only you, for me as well, so that I can also have some insight before we just end up this session. So any queries, teachers, any questions, any queries, any experiences you want to share with me, I would definitely love to hear all of that. So, and please, it's a request, you all can unmute yourself, whoever wants to speak, they can unmute and speak to me. Somebody is trying to say something, you have to unmute yourself, because otherwise I'm not able to. Yes,
madam,
yes.
Madam, please give me some beautiful pictures. Pictures which I will show in the classroom.
Okay, like in terms of the visual schedule you are asking?
Visual schedule, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for that, I am sorry right now, through which I am telling you right now, I don't have them, but I will tell you the link where you can very readily, it's all available, just for an hint, yes. Just for an example, actually, what you are asking. Simply on Google, you just, not even on YouTube, just on Google, you have to search daily schedule for special children. That's it.
Google, madam, daily
schedule, or you can type visual schedule for children with special needs, or daily schedule for children with autism. Anything out of these two.
Autism. Okay.
Yes. Either madam, we call it as visual schedule or we call it as daily schedule. So it depends.
Madam, is ADHD a bad thing, ma'am?
No, there is actually, if you are asking a psychologist, for me, I am a child psychologist by profession. Yes, for me, nothing is good, nothing is bad. I would answer like that, because see, here is only the attitude. I'm not saying that you are adapting that attitude. I'm just giving an example. So this is only the first attitude. What we all have to take care, the acceptance, wholeheartedly the acceptance. Okay, तुम हो, तुम्हें मैं और ध्यान दूंगी. Getting my point. Okay, you are there. Yes, you are definitely a challenge to me, but I will make sure every day I'm telling myself, I will make sure I will try to treat this child as much as possible. So that is how the bad thing also will become good. Madam,
this I will do yoga for in the classroom.
See, and this is for all the information for all the few who will be joining with us in the day after tomorrow session. What I told you, we will having the same topic, but the academic help, in which I think me or our ma'am only will be talking about the brain gym exercises also. So I think your question will be answered day after tomorrow.
Okay.
So then only if you ask the question, so then I think we will be able to give you more answers.
Yes. Madam, in classroom, I also take daily your TLM in the classroom.
Okay, yes. That is also in there. Yes, the TLM also we are going to talk about.
TLM I have to take, madam, in the daily. This
Very
is my
good.
first period.
Okay.
First period, madam, I take daily TLM.
Very good, sir. Very nice. Very nice. And TLM in which you can create a lot many things. For example, a very clear, for example, a concept of conservation. What is that? One bottle of water transferring into the mug. It's very simple. It's nothing very scientific. But this kind of a play activity can be so interesting for any child with autism, with any child with learning disability. So you will then automatically gain a lot of interest actually
Lot
in
is
playing with these children. So very good if you are
Madam,
doing with the
I
TLMs.
also take this, ma'am. A zero investment innovatives for education.
Yes, yes,
Madam,
yes,
this
yes, yes,
I
yes, yes.
also
So this
take.
is our thing only. Yes, ZIIEI
Yes,
from Sri Aurobindo Society only. Yes, yes.
yes. I
Okay,
will
so
do
then very
three.
good. Very nice, sir. Very nice. No, really, it's commendable.
Madam, my name is Vishwanath Ghosh, ma'am.
Okay.
Vishwanath Ghosh,
My
my
name
name is.
is Niharika Ghosh. Okay.
Niharika. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
very,
ma'am.
very
Tomorrow,
nice. Huh.
madam, tomorrow you will take
The
next
same session in Hindi. Day
in
after
Hindi.
tomorrow, that is
Yes,
Thursday. So Thursday, we are
Thursday.
going to have the classroom strategies in terms of the academic help, in terms of how
Academic.
to
Yes.
get them the writing and spelling
Right.
skills done and everything, the
Writing, spelling,
pure
spelling.
academic things.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Today I had
Okay, ma'am.
covered the behavior and the social aspect, the other
Yes,
things
yes.
which are important.
Madam, ma'am, I have written all these things.
Yes, yes.
The
I was
behavior.
looking at you that you are writing something
Writing.
constantly. Very good. Very good. Very nice. Very nice. Very
Okay, ma'am.
commendable, sir.
Madam, okay.
Hello,
Thanks.
ma'am.
हाँ जी sir, बताइए.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes, sir. Tell me.
I am from Jammu and Kashmir. I am
Okay.
Sikandar Bhatt, teacher from
Okay.
Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay. Okay. Good evening,
Ma'am,
sir.
I have a question, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, sir.
The question is, we usually believe that, by mixing up the students with children with special needs with the normal students
Yes.
in the classes, we are using that sort of education policy,
Yes.
uh, by keeping them in same classes.
Yes.
Do you think, ma'am, it is good, or you know either we should have a
Do it
separate
or not.
school for
Hmm.
children with special needs, ma'am?
Okay.
Do you
Okay.
think that will give more attention and more focus to the
Please, sir, I will.
student?
I will just
And
answer very precisely. Huh. Yes. 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 Please. Please complete.
maybe, ma'am, by they do have a problem. We must accept
Yes.
that children
Yes.
with,
Yes.
we have to give them extra attention, extra focus,
True.
ma'am. So maybe it may lead, it may affect the education of other normal
Right.
students.
Right.
Why don't we believe in that? Keeping as separate special schools for them, that will be more beneficial. For we can have a special teachers.
I think,
For
sir, ma'am also wants to speak. Ma'am, you have to unmute. So let me just have a word with him. So then you can reply. Yes. Yes, sir. Please. You are
ma'am.
saying, sir, so then it becomes a lot of confusion, and in a way that you are saying that the atypical children may, may not benefit if a child with special need is there in the class. So definitely, what you are trying to say.
Yes, ma'am. That will also affect the education of children with special needs. Maybe
Right.
we can have special teachers for them if we have separate special
Sir,
schools.
so I will definitely answer you in the other way, because I think most of the teachers were not connected to us in the earlier sessions. What I had actually said in the initial part, that we have been majorly in the first, I think 3-4 days, we had cover up talking about what is inclusive education, how this special education or this inclusive education has come up since the since 1800s. So that
Yes,
kind of a time. So it's way back if I talk about the system. But sir, answering your, yes, the concern is genuine from your side, definitely, because as I said, you are the teacher, you may be having the one-on-one problem, definitely, which we may not be able to understand also. So I agree with that, but sir, the problem is, how I should not, I don't know how much I should comment on it or not, but the system, basically in India, whatever the system, more or less, if we believe it or not, is still to change a lot. So my answer actually for this will be this statement only, but I won't
exactly.
be saying much about it, because as you
Yes.
said, special educator, counselor is a must from CBSE, ICSE, from all. But kahan hai? Nahi hai. So
Yes.
here is the answer. So
Yes.
unfortunately, this situation, exactly what you have
Exactly,
shared. So
ma'am.
definitely, I can definitely understand from the very first line what you wanted to share. But again, me answering actually on this platform will be little bit difficult.
Okay, ma'am.
I would say, but definitely yes,
It's
that
true.
confusion is also genuine. But sir, if you see on our page only, Shri Aurobindo Society ZIIEI, so in the very first or the second sessions only, sir, I would definitely personally want you to go through all of that. In that, we have also talked about on all the inclusive education. But yes, by the end of the day, I agree the system are definitely changing. पहले तो sir उतना भी नहीं था. Now day by day, let's hope that we all benefit within few years only. I can hope this much only, if not more.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yes. Okay.
definitely,
Thank you,
but sir,
ma'am.
definitely you go through our videos. So I think it will be also a good kind of an insight for you as well.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Anji ma'am, you were saying something?
Hello,
Because I
ma'am.
could see your mouth was moving, but you were on mute. So that's why. Anji ma'am, bataiye.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
I'm
Good evening.
from Sikkim, Northeast Sikkim.
Okay. Okay.
There is some student
Mhm.
whose weakness is stealing. You
Stealing.
know,
Stealing.
kleptomania.
Got
So,
it.
would you suggest any positive reinforcement on?
See now because we as psychologists we are very specific, and especially I am actually very specific about the diagnosis. So it can be, ma'am, first you have to just try to decipher or differentiate either kleptomania firstly or a general impulsive nature. So in both the cases, or conduct disorder. So these three things you have to really get evaluated for. Okay, conduct disorder, impulse control disorder, and kleptomania as a whole. So these three things have to be there. Then for that, two different social stories. Which class, ma'am? Which class the child is in?
He's class 6.
Six. Okay, so that means a
But
lot of
he's
change
good
in
in
terms.
studies, ma'am. He's
Okay.
good in
Yeah,
studies.
so that
Very
is why most
intelligent
of the
boy.
teachers and parents also get confused that okay, ma'am, ये तो अच्छा करता है, but still this is the problem. I got it. So, ma'am, so I would say that in sixth, a lot of social, environmental, academic, a lot of changes are there. We have to agree. So either these kind of changes are impacting the behavior. First of all, we have to just decipher on that, or we have to be very particular. Then, ma'am, what you can do, take the parents in the loop, okay, and take one or two children of the class. So ask this boy, he's a boy.
Yeah, boy.
So give this boy in the first 7 to 10 days some very basic responsibilities in the class and do a lot of praise. For example, just rubbing the board, writing the date on the board like we used to do in a class time, distributing either the newspapers or distributing something, collecting the copies, switching off. So make his point only as a monitor that better you only have to take care, you only have to make a line, and it is your responsibility that from the classroom you will take all the children to the music class. So, and always indirectly and the backhand, keep one reliable child behind him. So getting my point, like indirectly. Then keep a note of the behavior. Just see that when is the particular time he is having this kind of a behavior more, and when are the situations when he is not having those behavior. If you find that he's actually doing this, then take the parents in the loop, then do a negative reinforcement with the child, like taking away the pleasurable things. So for example, if you see him stealing something, so cut down on his pleasurable things, maybe the games period, maybe as I mentioned, sitting with the best friend, maybe that you say that okay, not this much homework, now you need to do one page extra, something trial and error we have to actually find out. And very importantly, what we forget during negative enforcement is the positive one. The moment, if for one day also, if for 1 or 2 days, because I don't know his frequency, even if for one day if you find him not stealing anything, then get up, do clapping, and at least pat his back and do a lot of praise to the child. So do not forget this when you are doing the negative reinforcement. So both has to be on the same page. Okay, and please primarily send him to a psychologist or a counselor, very importantly, and take the parents in the loop. That is the first two things what you have to do. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for enlightening me.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. Yes, sir. कोई अभी आप लोगों में से बोल रहा था कोई? I could hear someone's voice.
No, madam, today.
Yes. Acha, you were there. So anybody, any other teacher who wants to share some experience कि आप लोगों ने कुछ इस तरह के बच्चे देखे हैं अपनी क्लास में और you have come across and you have tried to give a proper management plan to the child. Anybody wants to share any personal experience? Let me also get a lot of an enlightenment, no? Otherwise, it will be a one-side process. So I would definitely like to, welcome anybody who wants to share. It will be a great experience then, not only for teachers, for me, but for rest of the teachers as well. So anybody wants to give any suggestion, like yes, any suggestion how we can help these children, or what maybe you have done on one-on-one basis, or you have seen in the school or in the neighborhood, anywhere. Yes, so no queries. I am supposing that there is no more query, no more questions. So teachers, definitely again a request that all of you please be with us, especially in the next to next day's session, which will be again the same topic, focusing on the reading, writing, vocabulary, and basically academic fundamentals of enhancing these in children with special need. So please stay with us for the further sessions also. And definitely teachers, it was really great interacting with all of you. And definitely I would have liked more, if more questions, more experiential we could have made it. So no worries. We have opportunity in the coming up session from tomorrow or in this week also. So teachers, thank you so much again for joining with us. Thank you. Have a
Madam,
great
tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow in Hindi.
Yes, tomorrow.
Day after
In
tomorrow
Hindi.
in academic. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
5 p.m. ma'am. 5
Yes.
5 p.m.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.